Dr. Elias Varn leaned back in his chair, staring at the blinking lights of the neurointerface machine in front of him. The lab on the edge of Kolara Station smelled faintly of ozone and coffee. Outside the window, the colony's towering structures shimmered under the twin suns. Elias rubbed his temples. Years of research had brought him here, to the point where he was about to test a device that could read the human mind, not just the conscious thoughts but the hidden, private ones. He paused. The idea still made him uneasy. Humans were messy creatures, full of contradictions, fears, and desires. Most of the time, people spent their lives hiding the thoughts that mattered most. What if the AI could see everything? What if someone else saw? Elias, you look worried, said a voice from behind him. It was Kale, the alien anthropologist he had reluctantly agreed to host in his lab. Kale's skin shimmered faintly in the sunlight, a soft pattern of iridescent scales moving like liquid. His large eyes, unusually expressive for his species, studied Elias with a mixture of curiosity and amusement. I'm just nervous, Elias admitted. This isn't just a machine. It's a window into a person's mind. There's no way to control what it sees. And once it sees it, there's no going back. Kale tilted his head. You think I will mind what it finds? I don't know, Elias said. You're not human, you might handle it differently. Kale smiled, a strange, serene curve of lips. I study humans, I know they are complicated. I also know that many hide their thoughts out of fear or shame. I want to see what you hide, and I promise I will not judge you. Elias felt a strange mixture of relief and apprehension. He had spent decades studying the human mind, but now someone else would see it. Someone alien, someone unafraid. All right, he said finally, let's start. The neurointerface hummed as Elias activated it. A soft blue light spread across the console. Electrodes hovered over Kale's head, ready to make contact. Unlike humans, Kale didn't flinch. He simply closed his eyes as if trusting the device completely. Elia's hands trembled slightly as he typed in the final commands. The machine whirred to life. A stream of data began to appear on the monitors, brainwaves, thought patterns, emotions. Elia's heart raced. At first, the thoughts were normal: curiosity, mild amusement, observations about the lab. But then, as the AI dug deeper, it began to reveal the messy, chaotic layers of Kale's mind. Thoughts about things he had never said aloud, desires he had never expressed, fears he had long ignored. Elias froze. He expected judgment. He expected confusion. He did not expect delight. Kale opened his eyes slowly. You see it, don't you? He asked. Yes, Elias whispered. I see everything. Kale laughed softly. It was not a mocking laugh. It was warm, like sunlight on water. And do you understand it? I don't know, it's so strange, so different from human thought. Exactly, Kale said. Human thought is messy, full of contradictions, and yes, sometimes dirty. But that is what makes it beautiful. That is what makes it powerful. Elias felt a chill. Beautiful? Kale nodded. Yes. The very things humans try to hide are the things that give them strength. Creativity, humor, curiosity, even desire. It all flows together into something the universe cannot predict. Elias stared at the monitors. Patterns of thoughts, lines of emotion, raw impulses, all of it displayed in glowing lines and colors. He had expected chaos, but what he saw was something else, potential. Kale leaned back, closing his eyes again. I have always admired humans, he said. Not for their strength or their speed or their technology, but for their minds. You think too much, yes. You worry, you plan, you hide, but it is your messiness that makes you unstoppable. Elias swallowed. He wanted to argue. He wanted to protect his ego, to claim that humans were superior for other reasons. But he couldn't. There was truth in Kale's words. Humans survived because they were unpredictable. They survived because they thought in ways no algorithm could fully anticipate. The lab's door hissed open. A junior technician entered, holding a tablet. Dr. Varn, the council wants an update. They've noticed spikes in neural readings. They're concerned. Elias exhaled sharply. "It's nothing," he said, though he knew it was not entirely true. "Just preliminary tests, nothing to worry about." The technician looked skeptical but nodded. "Very well, just be careful. You know how the council feels about unusual experiments." Once the door closed, Kale turned to Elias. "Careful?" he asked. "Why would you hide your work from those who cannot understand it?" "Because they might want to control it," Elias admitted. "They might want to weaponize it, or worse." He didn't finish the sentence. Kale's eyes glimmered. "Then let us show them what humans can truly do, not by hiding but by being themselves. Messy, chaotic, and entirely unpredictable." Elias laughed nervously. "You make it sound so simple." "It is not simple," Kale said, "but it is natural, and nature always wins in the end." Over the next few hours, they continued their experiments. Elias tested the interface on himself, projecting his thoughts into the AI. Kale watched without judgment, analyzing, commenting, laughing softly at Elias' self-doubt. The machine hummed, lights pulsed, and the lab seemed to come alive. For the first time, Elias felt the thrill of unfiltered human thought. The raw, untamed creativity, the humor, the embarrassment, all of it was displayed like a living tapestry. By the time the twin suns set behind Kolara Station, Elias realized something profound. For all their flaws, humans were magnificent. Their thoughts were unpredictable, messy, and brilliant. And with someone like Kale to witness it, there was no shame, only potential. Kale placed a hand on Elias' shoulder. "Tomorrow, we begin again," he said. "And we will see what humans can truly do when they are not afraid to be themselves." Elias nodded, feeling both fear and excitement. He didn't know what the future held, but one thing was certain. With Kale's guidance, humanity's mind, messy, chaotic, and beautiful, might just become the greatest power in the galaxy. And for the first time in his life, Elias didn't want to hide a single thought. The morning sun spilled through the tall windows of Kolara Station, reflecting off the lab's polished floors. Dr. Elias Varn stood at his workstation, staring at the glowing neural interface. Beside him, Kale leaned against a counter, arms crossed, eyes bright with curiosity. "Are you ready?" Elias asked, a hint of tension in his voice. Kale's scales shimmered faintly. "Always, today, we see what humans can truly create when no thought is hidden." Elias swallowed. He had spent weeks preparing new programs for the AI. The goal was simple, but ambitious. Not just to read human thought, but to translate it into energy. The patterns of imagination, creativity, and emotion could power machines in ways no conventional programming ever could. "Let's begin," Elias said. Kale seated himself in the neural chair again, electrodes hovering above his temples. Elias activated the interface. The blue glow returned, soft and pulsing like a heartbeat. The AI began scanning Kale's mind. At first, the readings were calm. Simple thoughts, observational notes, curiosity about human behavior. Then, as the AI probed deeper, the patterns began to shift. Lines of thought coiled and spiraled, creating shapes and colors that danced across the holographic displays. Elia's breath caught. "It's beautiful," he whispered. Kale chuckled softly. "Beauty in chaos, Elias, always remember that. Humans hide their chaos because they fear it, but chaos is the source of power, creativity, problem-solving, survival." The AI began converting thought patterns into energy pulses. Machines in the lab responded. Small drones hovered in the air, lights flickering in rhythm with Kale's neural activity. A robotic arm moved with a fluid, almost artistic motion, tracing patterns in the air that reflected Kale's mental imagery. This is incredible," Elias said. "The AI isn't just reading thoughts, it's using them to control systems, to create." Kale smiled. "Exactly. And humans do this naturally. You just need to show them how." Elias looked at his own hands. Could he, a human, truly harness his thoughts in the same way? He hesitated, then activated the interface on himself. The machine hummed louder as his thoughts merged with Kale's patterns. At first, nothing happened. Then the AI picked up on subtle impulses: Elia's curiosity, his fear, his excitement. Lines of color erupted across the display. The lab systems responded to his mental commands. A series of small drones formed shapes in midair. A circle, a triangle, a star, exactly as Elias imagined. Kale's eyes widened. "Do you see? You are already powerful and you have barely begun." Elias laughed nervously. "This feels unnatural, too much. I'm not sure I can control it." "You think it is unnatural," Kale said softly, "but it is natural. Humans think too much about control. You worry, you plan, you hesitate. But thought itself is a tool, and like any tool, it must be used freely without fear." As the day progressed, Elias and Kale experimented further. They tried different thought patterns: humor, abstract ideas, random memories. Each produced unique responses in the AI and the lab's machines. A simple memory of a childhood playground caused drones to form the shapes of swings and slides. A joke from Elias past created ripples of light that danced across the ceiling. Even fleeting impulses, like hunger or impatience, affected the machines in subtle ways. "This is incredible," Elias said, pacing the lab. "The AI can use thought to control matter, but is it safe?" Kale tilted his head. "Safety is relative. Fear is the only danger here. Fear of what humans think is wrong. You humans hide your strengths because you fear them. Stop fearing and you will see your true potential." Elias nodded slowly. "I think I'm beginning to understand." The breakthrough came unexpectedly. During a pause, Kale shared a memory he had stored long ago: images of his homeworld, a place of floating cities and glowing rivers. The AI translated the memory into energy pulses, and a holographic landscape appeared above the lab. The colors, the textures, even the subtle motions of water were rendered perfectly. Elia's jaw dropped. This is beyond imagination." Kale smiled. "No, it is imagination. But human imagination. You have that too, Elias. You just need to let it flow." But as the excitement grew, so did the risk. Unknown to Elias and Kale, the council had been monitoring neural spikes from the lab. Their curiosity had turned into suspicion. By evening, a message appeared on Elia's terminal. "Dr. Varn, your activities are under review. Stop unauthorized experimentation immediately." Elias frowned. "They're watching. They'll shut us down if they see this." Kale's expression was calm, almost amused. "Then we must act wisely. Hide nothing but show nothing dangerous. Humans' greatest strength is unpredictability. Use it." Elias nodded, though anxiety churned in his stomach. The council did not understand the potential of the interface. They only saw the possibility of misuse. If they took control, human thought might be locked down, censored, or weaponized. Over the next few days, Elias and Kale refined the process. They tested different aspects of thought: memory, imagination, humor, even instinct. They discovered that the AI responded best to honesty, unfiltered, unplanned thought. Human fear, hesitation, or self-doubt created glitches. Courage and curiosity created stability. Elias began to realize something profound. The very traits humans often considered weaknesses, impulsiveness, messiness, contradiction, were what made humans uniquely powerful. The AI could harness human thought in ways no alien intelligence could predict, and humans were the only species capable of such creativity. One night, as Kolara Station's twin moons rose high, Elias sat beside Kale in the lab. The drones floated silently, lights pulsing gently. "Do you really believe humans are special?" Elias asked quietly. Kale's eyes glimmered. "I have studied countless species across the galaxy. Some are stronger, faster, smarter in specific ways. But humans think differently. You do not follow patterns, you break them. You imagine the impossible and then find a way to make it real. That is why I admire you. That is why I love your thoughts, even the messy ones." Elias felt a warmth in his chest he had never felt before. For the first time, he was proud not of his achievements but of human nature itself. Before he could respond, the lab alarms blared. A red light flashed across the room. The council's security drones were entering the lab. Elia's heart pounded. They found us. Kale's voice was calm. No, they found the lab, but they do not understand the humans inside it. Let us show them why they should not interfere. Elias took a deep breath and focused. The AI hummed louder as his thoughts poured into it. Fear, determination, curiosity, and above all, creativity. The drones reacted, forming barriers and creating illusions to confuse the council bots. Machines around the lab responded to every subtle mental command. The council drones paused, scanning, unsure how to proceed. Elias smiled. They can't predict this. Human thought is too human. Kale nodded, impressed. Exactly. Messy, chaotic, beautiful, that is humanity's power. By the time the council finally retreated, Elias was exhausted but exhilarated. He looked at Kale. We've only scratched the surface. This could change everything. Kale's eyes gleamed. Yes, and tomorrow we begin again. But next time, we will show humans what they can truly do when no one else is watching, when no one controls their minds and they let themselves be exactly who they are. Elias leaned back, letting the adrenaline fade. The danger was real, but so was the promise. Humans, messy and unpredictable as they were, had a power no one else could match. And with Kale by his side, Elias felt ready to explore it to its fullest. Above Kolara Station, the twin moons shone brightly, reflecting off the glass towers. Inside the lab, thought became energy, imagination became reality, and human potential stretched further than anyone had dared to dream. And somewhere deep inside, Elias knew this was only the beginning. Kolara Station was buzzing with energy, though not the kind Elias enjoyed. Security drones patrolled the corridors in sharp, mechanical sweeps, scanning for anomalies. Council notices had escalated to warnings. If Elias' experiments were discovered again, he could face permanent shutdown, or worse, imprisonment. Yet in the lab, Elias and Kale worked as if nothing had changed. The AI interface pulsed with a soft blue glow, humming with life, responding to thoughts as if eager for the next challenge. We can't keep hiding forever, Elias muttered, adjusting a holographic control panel. They'll come back stronger this time, and I'm not sure even the drones will stop them. Kale's gaze was calm. Then we do not hide, we evolve. Humans survive by thinking differently. Use the chaos in your mind. Let them follow patterns while you break them. Elias frowned. You make it sound easy. Nothing powerful is ever easy, Kale said with a faint smile. But it is possible, and humans are masters of the impossible. The next morning, their first test of thinking as power began. Elias projected a thought sequence into the AI, an improvisation based on fear, humor, and instinct. The drones in the lab responded, forming a defensive pattern around them. They moved in ways no programmed algorithm could anticipate. Kale added his mental patterns, the alien equivalent of abstract creativity, and the drones became almost alive, unpredictable, responsive, defensive, yet elegant. This is incredible, Elias whispered, watching the drones respond to layered human-alien thought. We can actually control them with just thinking, Kale nodded. And not just drones, systems, machines, even energy flows. Humans' greatest strength is their ability to improvise. Unpredictability is a weapon. Elias smiled faintly, but his mind was tense. The council's drones had been watching, learning from every anomaly in the station. They were bound to strike again. It came faster than expected. Alarms screamed across the station as council security drones converged on the lab. Red warning lights cast harsh shadows over the glowing blue of the AI. They're here, Elias said, his voice tense. Kale's eyes glimmered. Do not panic. Let them come. Let them see the humans they cannot predict. The council drones entered with mechanical precision. Their scanners swept the lab, analyzing energy readings, searching for threats. Ilya's mind raced. He tapped into the AI, projecting calm, confident thoughts mixed with calculated improvisation. The lab drones responded instantly, forming barriers and decoys. "Impressive," one council drone stated in a metallic monotone. "Your activities are unauthorized. Surrender immediately." Elias whispered under his breath, "They have no idea what they're facing." Kale added his thoughts, creating illusions in the lab, shimmering walls of light, shapes that moved unpredictably. The council drones fired electromagnetic pulses, but the lab drones intercepted them, redirecting the energy safely. Every move the council made, Elias and Kale countered with human ingenuity and alien creativity combined. "This is unbelievable," Elias murmured, barely moving his lips. "They can't predict us. They can't control us." Kale smiled. "That is why humans survive. That is why humans can triumph when all seems lost. Predictable strategies fail against imagination and courage." As the council drones recalibrated, Elias realized they could not rely solely on drones for defense. They needed to think faster than the machines, faster than anyone expected. He began projecting sequences of thought that combined logic with instinct, planning with improvisation. The lab seemed to breathe with their combined consciousness. Machines responded, shifting forms, creating barriers, and opening paths. Even the walls seemed alive as energy flows responded to Elia's commands. The council drones hesitated, unable to adapt to the constantly changing environment. Elia's confidence grew. "We're not just defending," he said, eyes shining. "We're showing them human potential. They don't understand what humans can do when their minds are free." Kale nodded. "Yes, and this is only the beginning." The council drones launched a concentrated attack, attempting to disable the AI core. Elias focused, feeling his thoughts flow like a river, chaotic but controlled. The AI responded, channeling energy to neutralize the drones' attacks without harming them. Lights flashed, machines whirred, and the lab became a symphony of human thought translated into energy. Suddenly, a council drone broke through a barrier, firing a pulse toward the AI. Elias reacted instantly, projecting a wave of thought, fear, determination, creativity into the AI. The energy deflected the attack, creating a dazzling display of light and color that stunned the drone into retreat. Kale's voice was calm but filled with admiration. "You see, you do not need to fight as they do. You fight with your mind. That is what makes humans unstoppable." Elias realized that Kale was right. Strength and speed were not enough. Humans' unpredictability, their messiness, their ability to combine logic with intuition, humor with strategy, these were weapons no one else possessed. The council drones, unable to adapt to the constant flux of energy and thought, finally retreated. The alarm ceased, leaving the lab bathed in the soft glow of the AI. Elias collapsed into a chair, exhausted but exhilarated. Kale leaned beside him. "You did not just survive, you triumphed, and not by weapons but by being human, by thinking freely. By being messy, chaotic, and brilliant." Elias laughed, a mixture of relief and awe. "I never thought our thoughts could be this powerful, not just to control machines but to outsmart the council." Kale's eyes shimmered. "Humans have always been underestimated. You survive in harsh worlds, adapt to impossible conditions, and imagine what others cannot. You are not just capable, you are extraordinary." Elias looked at the glowing AI, then at Kale. "We can do more. We can teach others. Imagine if humans everywhere could unlock this potential. We could change everything: technology, exploration, even survival." Kale nodded. "Yes, but we must be careful. Power without understanding can be dangerous. We need control but not limitation. Freedom but guided by insight." Over the next several days, Elias and Kale continued their experiments, pushing the AI further. They discovered that thought could not only move machines but create illusions, project images into the minds of others, and even manipulate energy flows in ways previously thought impossible. Yet, every breakthrough brought new risks. Council scouts patrolled the station more frequently, watching for anomalies. Elias knew it was only a matter of time before they returned in force, but now he felt ready. Humans were unpredictable, chaotic, brilliant, and that unpredictability was more powerful than any machine or drone. One evening, as the twin moons rose over Kolara Station, Elias and Kale sat together in the quiet lab. The drones floated silently, lights pulsing softly. "Tomorrow," Elias said quietly, "we take this further, not just to defend but to show the Council that humans cannot be controlled, that our thoughts, our very minds, are too powerful to contain." Kale's eyes gleamed. "Yes, and we will not hide, we will not submit. We will let humanity shine, messy and brilliant for all to see. That is the true HFY spirit." Elias nodded. For the first time, he truly believed it. Humans were not just survivors. They were creators, strategists, dreamers, and the galaxy had never seen anything like them. The Council could try to stop them, but humans had an advantage no one else could match: imagination, chaos, and the courage to think freely. And with Kale by his side, Elias knew that nothing, not machines, not politics, not fear, could hold them back. Humanity's time was coming, and it would be brilliant. Kolara Station had never felt so alive. The hum of machinery mingled with the soft glow of the neural interface, casting shimmering patterns across the lab walls. Dr. Elias Varn stood at the center, his mind racing with possibility. Beside him, Kale watched with that calm, knowing expression that always made Elias feel both reassured and challenged. "The Council will return," Elias said quietly, pacing the lab. "And next time they won't come with just drones. They'll come with everything they have. We need a plan, a way to show them humans cannot be predicted or controlled." Kale's eyes sparkled. "We do not need a plan in their sense. Humans are unpredictable. You have the greatest weapon of all, your mind. Chaos, creativity, courage, that is what will win." Elias nodded slowly, feeling a mixture of fear and excitement. "Then we use our thoughts, everything we've learned, but it has to be perfect." "Perfect is unnecessary," Kale said. "Human brilliance is in imperfection." The warning came sooner than expected. Red lights flashed across the lab, and alarms blared. The Council's fleet had arrived in orbit around Kolara Station. Security drones swarmed the corridors, and automated weapons scanned for anomalies. Elias felt a surge of adrenaline. "They're coming," he whispered. Kale's voice was calm, almost serene. "Then let us show them what humans can do." Elias connected himself and Kale to the neural interface. The AI hummed, sensing the surge of mental energy. Elias projected thoughts of determination, creativity, and humor. Kale added alien abstract patterns, weaving them with Elias' chaotic human imagination. The lab's drones responded instantly, forming intricate patterns, barriers, and moving illusions that seemed to float in the air. The first wave of Council drones entered. They were armed with electromagnetic disruptors designed to disable the neural interface. Elias' mind raced. He combined strategy with instinct, projecting sequences of thought that redirected the disruptors harmlessly into the ceiling. The drones fired again, but the AI responded to subtle shifts in Elias' focus, neutralizing every attack. Kale's mental energy layered over Elias, creating unpredictable patterns of movement. The Council drones could not anticipate the responses. For every attempt to capture or disable the AI, the lab seemed to shift, adapt, and evolve. Walls became illusions, floors reflected holographic decoys, and machines moved in ways no algorithm could predict. "They cannot follow us," Elias said, awe in his voice. "They don't understand our minds. They can't predict our moves." Kale smiled. "That is why humans survive. That is why humans triumph. not through brute force but through creativity and chaos. The Council's forces escalated. Ships in orbit fired targeted energy beams, attempting to disable the station's systems. Elias and Kale realized they could use the AI to interact with external systems. By projecting combined thought patterns, they manipulated the station's energy grids, redirecting beams harmlessly into empty space and even feeding back into the Council ship systems, causing minor malfunctions. Elia's confidence grew. "We're not just defending ourselves, we're showing them the true power of human thought." Kale nodded. "Yes, let them see what unpredictability can do. Let them see the brilliance of being human." In the midst of the chaos, Elias realized something vital. The Council was relying on patterns. Every attack had a method, a predictable sequence. Humans had no need for predictability. Thoughts could be messy, contradictory, impulsive, and that was the advantage. He projected a combination of fear, courage, humor, and wild improvisation into the AI. The drones reacted, forming a complex defensive web, then splitting into smaller units that created illusions of humans moving through the lab. Council drones fired at the illusions, wasting energy and time. Kale added abstract patterns of alien logic, further confusing the Council. Machines shifted unpredictably, energy flows danced across the lab, and holographic decoys made it appear as if dozens of humans occupied every corner. "This is genius," Elias whispered. "They cannot touch us. They cannot understand us." The Council's leader appeared on a holographic screen, voice cold and metallic. "Dr. Varn, cease your unauthorized activities. You endanger the station and the human species itself. Surrender the neural interface immediately." Elias clenched his fists. Surrender. To people who fear imagination and chaos, never. Humans are not meant to be controlled. We create, we survive, we adapt, and we will not be stopped by fear. Kale's hand rested on Elias' shoulder. "Speak with conviction, think with freedom. Show them the strength of human thought." Elias took a deep breath and projected the full spectrum of his mind into the AI. Every fear, every hope, every dream, every impulsive idea. The drones, the machines, even the energy systems of the station responded. Lights flashed, holographic images swirled, and energy pulsed through the lab like a heartbeat. The Council drones faltered. They tried to adapt, but human unpredictability was a force they could not calculate. The station itself seemed to resist control, as if alive and guided by Elia's thoughts. Every attack they launched was neutralized or turned back. Kale's voice was calm but fierce. "This is your power, Elias. This is humanity's power, creativity, imagination, chaos. Let them witness it." Elias focused harder, layering thought upon thought. The drones moved in perfect yet unpredictable patterns, blocking every Council attempt. Holographic decoys scattered across the lab, projecting dozens of humans in every corridor. Council forces hesitated, overwhelmed by the sheer unpredictability. Finally, Elias directed a sequence of thoughts into the energy systems of the station. Lights exploded into brilliant patterns, drones danced in synchronized chaos, and the Council ships' sensors were overloaded by conflicting energy readings. Communication links faltered. Systems that relied on predictable logic began to fail. The Council leader's voice grew frantic. What is happening? How are you doing this?" Kale stepped forward. "Human thought is not a tool you can control. It is alive. It is messy, chaotic, brilliant. You cannot predict it. You cannot contain it. And that is why humans survive and triumph." Elias smiled, exhaustion mixed with exhilaration. "We didn't just defend ourselves. We proved something greater. Humanity cannot be caged. We are more than patterns. We are imagination made real." The Council ships, unable to regain control, withdrew from orbit. The drones retreated, their systems disrupted and confused. Kolara Station was safe. The lab hummed with energy, but now it was calm, serene. The AI interface pulsed softly, responding to Elia's quiet thoughts rather than the chaos of combat. Kale looked at Elia's eyes bright. You see, humans are extraordinary, messy, unpredictable, brilliant. That is why I love your thoughts, and that is why the universe must respect them. Elias laughed softly, relief flooding him. We did it, all of it with just our minds. No weapons, no armies, just thought and creativity. Kale nodded. And now humanity can move forward. Free to explore, to create, to imagine without fear. This is the HFY spirit. Over the next days, the lab became a center of discovery. Humans trained with the AI, learning to harness thought in new ways, controlling machines, solving complex problems, and even projecting energy to assist in colony operations. The Council, though cautious, could not deny the results. Humanity's unpredictable brilliance had reshaped the rules of technology, defense, and creativity. Elias sat with Kale one evening, watching drones float silently, lights pulsing gently in rhythm with thought patterns. Do you think we're ready for the galaxy? Kale smiled. The galaxy has never been ready for humans, but that is exactly why we will thrive. Imagination, courage, unpredictability, you carry all of it, and the universe will take notice. Elias nodded, feeling a deep pride he had never known. Humans were messy, chaotic, and often flawed, but that very chaos was their strength. No machine, no alien force, no council could predict them or stop them. They were creators, dreamers, and survivors. And as Kolara Station's twin moons rose over the horizon, Elias realized that this was only the beginning. Humanity had shown the universe its true potential, not through weapons or brute strength, but through the raw power of thought. Kale reached out, placing a hand on Elia's shoulder. You have done more than survive. You have inspired. You have shown what it truly means to be human. Elias smiled, looking out at the stars beyond the station. And we will keep proving it, every day, every thought, every idea. Humanity is unstoppable. The night sky shimmered with possibilities, and for the first time Elias felt completely certain. Humans were not just part of the galaxy, they were a force, brilliant and unpredictable, destined to leave their mark across the stars. And somewhere deep inside, Elias knew this truth would echo forever. Messy, chaotic, brilliant human thought was now the greatest power in the universe. She reads my dirty thoughts and loves them.